Today we're going to talk about the elbow, wrist, and hand movements, but right now we're just going to talk about the elbow, which is articulated by three bones. You have your humerus, your radius, and your ulna. So first you have your biceps brachii, which does flexion of the elbow, and the triceps brachii does the extension portion, that portion after. Then you have your brachioradialis, which is on the thumb side, and it also does flexion of the elbow, as well as pronation and supination to neutral. And lastly, we have the brachialis, which also does flexion of the elbow.
Next we have the pronator teres and the pronator quadratus. Both of these do pronation of the elbow. Next we have the supinator, which does supination of the elbow. And then lastly we have the anaconeus, the small little muscle right here, that does extension of the elbow.
Now we're going to take a look at the bones of the hand and wrist. So here we have the 8 carpal bones, and distal to that we have the metacarpals, and after that we have the proximal phalanges, the middle phalanges, and the distal phalanges. In addition, we have the radial styloid process by the thumb, and on the other side we have the ulnar styloid process.
Alright, moving on to the muscles, we have the anterior muscles, which all do flexion. So we have the flexor carpi radialis, the palmaris longus, and the flexor carpi ulnaris. And then we also have deep beneath those the flexor digitorum profundus and the flexor pollicis longus.
Next we're going to go over the extensors of the wrist. So most of these originate on the lateral condyle. The extensor carpi radialis longus heads over to the radius. The extensor carpi radialis brevis also goes in the same direction. We also have the extensor carpi ulnaris. In addition, we have the extensor digitorum, the extensor indicis, the extensor digiti minimi, the extensor pollicis longus, as well as the brevis, and the abductor pollicis longus. So the main wrist abductors are the flexor carpi radialis, as well as the extensor carpi radialis brevis and longus. So next we have the main adductors of the wrist, which are the flexor carpi ulnaris, as well as the extensor carpi ulnaris. Furthermore, we also have finger extension, and the main muscles involved with this are the extensor digitorum, the extensor indicus, the extensor digitorum minimi, as well as the extensor pollicis longus, brevis, and abductor pollicis longus.
Now we have the flexor muscles of the fingers, which include the flexor digitorum superficialis and the flexor digitorum profundus.